Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Okay, guys, is voice audible? Please let me know. Guys, is voice audible? Please let me know this particular thing is voice audible or not. Okay, guys, there was some problem in the audio. I hope that now voice is audible. Please let me know if the voice is audible to you. Okay. So apologies from our side for this particular glitch that happened. We don't know why this happened, but there was the voice issue that was coming in between. But I now expect that the voice is pretty clear to all of you. Okay, starting up. So guys, let's start with the video. So first we have started seeing the overview. Now the first article, cookie body to reimpose blockade on key highway. Not important. The article is talking about this Manipur issue that is going on. Then guys, on side, pulse prices may spiral as a deficient rain mars sowing. So because of the basically guys, the deficient rains, the sowing season will be impacted. If the sowing season will be impacted, then the harvest also of the pulses will be impacted, and therefore the productivity will go down. And already we are seeing this particular thing, that food inflation has been very much high in the last few months. Particularly inflation has reached 15-month high. So this might be impacting the inflation in the times to come also. Then moving on guys, in the next after second deboost, Chandrayaan 3 on glide path to moon. So Chandrayaan 3 will land on moon on August 23 evening. So now it has started onto the glide path. Again, I have told you many number of times that you are not required to track every day detail with respect to Chandrayaan 3, when it will launch and when it will relay the important information that we will take. Then further moving on guys, after that we have these regional issues, etc. Nothing much important for the exam has been given here. So directly we will be moving on and we'll directly reach to editorial section. Till editorial, we don't have any important article here which is relevant for our examination. So coming to editorial, we have the first article, criminal law bill renaming is needless needling. Now, guys, I think at least 6-7 times we have seen this particular article that now government has proposed new bills in parliament which will replace Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code and Indian Evidence Act. So for that particular thing, Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita and Bharatiya Sakshya Bill has been brought. Now guys, this particular article, it is not talking anything about the content of this particular bill. Rather, article is talking about the name change that has happened. Okay, so only on that particular thing it has been said, and it is being said that deliberately the Hindi names have been kept, which might bring the anxiety for the non-Hindi speakers. I have read this entire article. Nothing for our exam has been given, so I will not advise you to go in this particular article's detail. One more thing, guys, that now these three bills have been presented. Now these bills have been referred to the select committee. Then select committee will give its recommendations. Then after that, some amendments will come. Then these bills will be placed in parliament. In parliament, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, there will be arguments, discussions that will happen. Some amendments might come. So point is that by the time the bill will pass, it might change little bit. So you are not required to go too much in detail in that. Then after that, moving on, election selection, the Congress needs to be truly representative for viable bid for power. The political article, not much important for exam. Then here we see pilot fatigue in India, wake up call for airlines. This article will take up with respect to GS paper number 3, infrastructure. Crafting safe generative AI spaces. This article also will take up for the examination. Fine. Then after that, irrigation is focus as India moves towards the driest ever August. Okay, so guys, when we talk about the rainfalls, this particular year's rainfall has followed a particular kind of a pattern. First of all, it was predicted that this will be the deficient rainfall year. Then it came that it will have an average rainfalls. But actually, when the rainfalls started, we saw that the rainfalls have been very high, particularly in some areas. For example, Delhi registered highest ever rain in last few decades. Similarly, the regions of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, they have also seen high rains. But as the August came, the rains they declined severely, and we have seen that there has been the driest ever August season. So therefore, particularly there are many regions which are dependent on rainfall. Fine, for the irrigation, we have the rain-fed regions. Now these regions, as over a period of time, climate extremes will increase. There will be the erratic rainfall patterns that will be there. Need of irrigation system is must in India. Now here guys, the article is actually talking about the rainfall deviation and the change of food grain production chart has been given. The state-wise percentage of net sown area which was under irrigation between 1990 to 2020, that has been given. Now understand this particular thing, that if you are preparing for some state PSC examination, you can see your state's data here. However, every state's data you are not required to go too much in detail. Okay, so that is all about it. Now moving on to the next article, text and context. The Kachativu island controversy. We'll take this particular article for examination. All the dimensions that are there, we'll take it. Then further, what is RBI's new pilot for frictionless credit? We'll take this particular article also for examination. Then further, guys, this is a cache article. Now, cache article is one which goes too much in the technical dimensions of a particular theme. So that is article is actually talking about how AI is used to increase the frequency of acoustic side channel attacks. Again, guys, moving on, the article is going too much into the technical nitty-gritties of the acoustic side channels. I have read that article. Okay, now how the MacBook Pro and how the different models of Apple laptops, other different models of laptops are vulnerable, and all such things have been given. Again, for our UPSC exam point of view, much substance has not been given in this particular article. Fine. So therefore, the article is not that much important for the exam point of view. However, moving on, then move to appoint a new Chief Justice for Manipur High Court suffers a delay. Then uh, moving on again, guys, MPs slam short notice for meet on criminal law bills. Okay. So moving on, we don't have much important articles here. Again, this Himachal landslide, a misfortunate event, and so many people are suffering in that. Okay. Then, guys, moving on the world page also, we on world page we have this article: Luna 25, Russia's first lunar mission in 47 years, crashes into moon. So basically, guys, now understand this few things here. We are launching Chandrayaan 3, and this Chandrayaan 3 is expected to land on moon on August 23. Chandrayaan 3 would be landing on the polar region of moon. Now, particularly when we talk about the South Pole region where it will be landing, this particular region is permanently under the shadow, and this region is expected to have the water traps in the rock structures. So therefore, for that particular thing, Chandrayaan 3 has been launched. Now, Luna was also the project for moon that was launched by the Russia. Now, last mission that was launched by Russia was in 1976 when it was the part of USSR. Since then, they have not launched moon mission. So now they launched Luna. There was one problem also that came. We have seen it in our newspaper also, that they were both expected to launch in a in a same region, and there was a possibility that Luna of Russia and Chandrayaan 3 of India might confront with each other, but Russia said that they will be landing at some different site. But now what has happened, this Luna 25 has crashed on moon. It has crashed on moon, and now it is unresponsive. So this is the misfortunate end of Luna 25, which was a mission of Russia. But our Chandrayaan 3 as of now is in very good shape and very good health, and it will be starting its descent. So that is about it. Then Kyiv welcomes Netherlands decision to hand over F-16 planes. Again, guys, on Russia-Ukraine war, one article every day comes in newspaper. Again, I have told you, I think hundreds of times, that we are not required to track everyday detail in Russia-Ukraine. Then after that, today we don't have business page because it is Monday. On Monday, we have money wise page, which contains investment, share market, stock market related advices and articles, not important for our exam. Then moving on, we have the sports page, and after sports page, we have one science page. Now, guys, few days science page has some relevant articles which are important for our examination. Now, I just want to tell you some important information about science section of for our examination. Now, see this thing. Many numbers, many number of times on this science page, there are articles which are talking about a research paper, okay, or articles which are talking about core physics, core biology, core chemistry, okay, research paper on some finding in physics, chemistry, etc. Now, these research papers and their peer review is not important for our examination. For our examination, we need to go on science and technology and the application of science and technology and the issues related to science and technology. Okay, so for example, today we have this article, The Vagaries and Dangers of Space That Chandrayaan 3 is Built to Brave. So, this article has important and relevant content. We'll take it up. So, understand this particular thing, guys, that often in the name of science and technology, there are students who are reading a core phenomena of theoretical physics and all such kind of a things, not needed for exam. Okay, but today we have an important article, we'll take it up. So that is all about the overview, and now let's take all relevant articles that are important for our exam one by one in detail. And as I was telling you about synoptic notes, so these are synoptic notes that you can download from our Telegram channel in PDF format. Every class we start with a GS quotation, and this GS quotations idea is to give you some quote, some idea, some substance that you can use in your GS papers or essay. So today we'll take quotation from JF Kennedy. JF Kennedy. JF Kennedy says, the ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all. Impairs the security of all. Now often voters, they think that I am a single voter, even if I will not vote, what will happen? Or if I vote even on the basis of my religion, what will happen? Others are anyhow voting rationally or logically. But understand this thing, drop by drop, an ocean is made, and a voter by voter, a democracy is made. So even a single voter's indifference, a single voter's apathy can hamper entire democracy's health. Okay, so every voter has to be very rational, very logical, and every voter has to be very much interested in the into the matters of the state while he is casting his vote. So ignorance of even a single voter in a democracy impairs the security for all. So everybody has to have a collective political wisdom in a democracy for its success. Fine. So that is about it. And now let's move and let's take first article. Oh, yes, guys, and we are launching our ethics batch from 23rd of August, and those who wish to enroll in the batch can join. You can fill the Google form. The link for Google form is given in description box as well as in the pinned comment. We have only few seats, and I think we'll close admissions either by today or tomorrow. Then moving on, the first article, Kachativu Island controversy. Kachativu Island controversy. Now, first of all, before going on in this article, let's take some of basic information, and after that we'll go in that article. Now, first of all, here please focus on this particular map. So here we have India, Tamil Nadu, and here we have Sri Lanka. Here we have Sri Lanka. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about boundary between India and Sri Lanka, boundary between India and Sri Lanka, that is international boundary line. International boundary line plays a very important role in the matters of every country. But in India, Sri Lanka, there is one additional angle also that comes. You see this particular thing. In Tamil Nadu, there are many fishermen, there are a lot of fishermen who are dependent on this particular region for their economic livelihood. At the same time, Sri Lankan fishermen also are dependent on this particular region for their economic livelihood. Now, what happens many number of a times, Indian fishermen, they cross international borders and they come around this particular region. And when the Indian fishermen come in this particular region, they cross the international boundary line. These fishermen are arrested by Sri Lankan authorities. Their boats, their fishing nets, they are seized by Sri Lankan authorities. Now, as they are in jail, then diplomatic talks have to be taken between India and Sri Lanka. Even the Indian fishermen are released by Sri Lankan authorities, but their fishing nets, their boats, their trawlers, they are not given back. Because of that, fishermen community in Tamil Nadu, they often face a lot of economic problems. And whenever we talk about Sri Lanka-India relation, fishermen issue always become an important theme, important concern between relation of India and Sri Lanka. Often political parties also, they have put forward that Indian government need to actively protect Indian fishermen. Now, as this fishermen issue is going on, the controversy of Kachativu Island has now come. Now, first of all, let's understand what is this Kachativu Island controversy and why now it has come in news. Now, first of all, what is this Kachativu Island? So here, this dot, this is Kachativu Island. Now, when we talk about Kachativu Island, first of all, let's talk a little bit about history of this island, and then we'll talk about significance and relevance of this particular article. This Kachativu Island, when we talk about Kachativu Island, this island actually was disputed between India and Sri Lanka. to which country this island actually belongs. In this particular direction, Sri Lanka, they claimed that Kachativu Island was Sri Lanka's because when Portuguese occupied the Sri Lanka, they also fine. So basically between 1505 to 1658, Portuguese, they have also exercised sovereignty over Kachativu islet. Now, islet, we use word islet for a small island. So it was said that the Portuguese, they have exercised the sovereignty over Kachativu. And when Sri Lanka came under the rule of Britishers, Kachativu also came under the Sri Lanka under British rule. So Kachativu belonged to them. But at the same time, India also say that Kachativu Island was the part of Zameen. Zameen means land. It was a part of Zameen or land of Raja of Ramnath or Ramananthapuram. So Ramananthapuram's Raja king Kachativu belonged to his Zameen, belonged to his land. It was under his rule. So Sri Lanka claims Kachativu as theirs. India claimed Kachativu as ours. And when Britishers were ruling, now you might be knowing this particular thing that British ruled over India also and they ruled over Sri Lanka also. Fine. Now, so Kachativu was under a joint jurisdiction between India and Sri Lanka during the British time. But when Britishers went, when India became independent, Sri Lanka became independent, what should happen to Kachativu? This particular controversy continued for a few years after independence. And actually what happened in 1974, this particular controversy was resolved. Okay, now what happened in 1974? In 1974, at that point of a time, Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, and Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, that is Shirim R.D. Bandaranaike, they signed an agreement and they provided this particular thing. They signed an agreement and they finalized the international boundary between India and Sri Lanka. And this international boundary will move something like this. It will move something like this. So basically, what happened? Kachativu was actually given to Sri Lanka. Kachativu was actually given to Sri Lanka. So if you see Kachativu becomes a part of Sri Lanka, it means that till this particular point at least, Sri Lanka has their own international boundary, has their own region, has their own region. The point is that Indian fishermen, they cannot go, they cannot go beyond this particular line. They cannot go beyond this particular line. And whenever they are crossing this particular line, they are being arrested by Sri Lankan authorities. Now what has happened now? Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, he has provided he has revived the debate over Kachativu Island. Now, this Kachativu Island, it is a barren 285-acre islet, okay, and it is 14 nautical miles off from Rameshwaram. So here you have Rameshwaram. It is 14 nautical miles away from Rameshwaram. Now, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu provides this particular thing that if India retrieved Kachativu from Sri Lanka, it will put a permanent end to problem of fishermen in India. How it will put an end to problem of fishermen in India? Understand this particular thing. If Kachativu Island, if Kachativu Island comes in control of India, it means Indian fishermen can go into far off regions. Indian fishermen can go in far off regions for fishing. And when they will fish around this particular region, they will not be arrested by Sri Lankan authorities because Kachativu Island will come to India. Now understand this particular thing. Till 1974, both fishermen of India and Sri Lanka, they have actually fished around Kachativu Island. But after 1976, both countries ever agreed that no one will fish around Kachativu Island, not India, not Sri Lanka. But when Indian fishermen are going there, they are being arrested. So if Kachativu Island comes to India, then Indian fishermen can fish freely here. They will not be arrested. So therefore, this problem will permanently be solved if Kachativu Island comes to India. This is a proposal that has been floated by Chief Minister, and Chief Minister had said that I have also written many letters to Prime Minister, and we expect that Prime Minister will be picking up this particular matter with Sri Lanka. So this is something that has happened. This is all about Kachativu Island, and all these details I have provided you here in this particular handout also. So right now, the boundary between India and Sri Lanka, it falls 1 mile off the west coast of Kachativu Island. Right now, Kachativu is with Sri Lanka, and we want it for India. Is it clear or not? So this is about it. Now, when we talk about Kachativu Island, on matters of Kachativu Island, the case is also going on in Supreme Court. And Supreme Union government in 2013 has informed Supreme Court that actually no Indian boundary was given to Sri Lanka. Kachativu was a disputed territory, and now we have settled this disputed territory by giving Kachativu to Sri Lanka. We did not give Indian land to Sri Lanka because it was a disputed region, okay, and it belonged to, and we have gave it to Sri Lanka. And right now also this matter is going on in court and has not been resolved. So this is about it. I hope that you have understood this particular issue. Now moving on to next article. Moving on to next article. What is Reserve Bank India's new pilot for frictionless credit? Okay. Now, we'll take this particular article for GS paper number 3, economy. GS paper number 3, economy, and largely under topic of economic reforms. Now, before going in this article, let's understand some basic information, and after that information, we'll go in this article. See, suppose, suppose here we have Mr. X. Mr. X has to take a loan, from State Bank of India. Okay. Now, State Bank of India, before giving loan to Mr. X, will check Mr. X's credit worthiness. Credit worthiness. Credit worthiness means that whether we can trust Mr. X that if he takes loan, he will return us money or not. So his credit worthiness is to be checked. Now, for checking his credit worthiness, we need to check a lot of things. For example, what is income of Mr. X? For example, his income is 20,000 rupees and he's asking a loan of 1 crore rupees whose EMI is, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. He cannot pay that 1 lakh rupee EMI from his 20,000 rupees income. So what is his income? What is his assets? What assets he hold? Thirdly, what is his credit score? What is his credit score? So for example, under CIBIL, your credit score is there. Now, what is your credit score? In past, you have taken a loan, whether you return that loan on time or not. On that basis, your credit score will be created. So all these particular informations will be checked by, let's say, State Bank of India. And on basis of that particular information, State Bank of India will decide that whether we should give loan to X or not. If we should give X loan to X, what interest rate we should charge? For example, if he is a risky borrower, we'll charge more interest rate. But if he is a secured government employee who has never defaulted on his loan, we can give him we can give him loan at less interest rate also. Okay, so this is something that is to be done. Due diligence is to be done. Now, as we talk about present system, actually taking a loan is a cumbersome, tedious, very painful exercise. You have to submit a lot of documents, and then those documents will be physically verified, and it actually take many days before loan is disbursed. Now India is moving towards digital economy and digital financial products, and now idea is coming that we should give paperless loan which should be cleared within minutes. Such kind of things are coming. Now understand this particular thing, that such thing is possible in case of some corporate employees, government employees. But if I have to give a loan to farmer, how I will do all this particular compliance in a digital format in just matter of minutes? It cannot happen. So we need some platform. Now here, Reserve Bank of India has suggested some reforms. Now, after this background that you have discussed, we have discussed just 1 minute back. Now read this article. Now, what Reserve Bank of India is coming out with? Reserve Bank of India is starting a pilot program for seeing the feasibility, pilot program for checking the feasibility, and functionality of public tech platform for frictionless credit. It is taking pilot project for public tech platform for frictionless credit. Now, what it is? Guys, it is simply a platform. It is simply a portal on which different agencies will come together which are instrumental while deciding whether a loan is to be given or not. It all the agencies which are instrumental in deciding what is a credit worthiness of a particular borrower, all will come under a common platform. Let's understand this particular thing in more detail. So as I told you that now Reserve Bank of India is focusing on digital delivery of credit, that is digital delivery of loans and all such kind of a thing. And before we give a loan, credit appraisal is to be done. And in that credit appraisal, a lot of information, that credit appraisal means to check the credit worthiness. For that, a lot of data is to be taken from banks, credit information companies, digital identity authorities, etc. So what will happen under this new platform? It will bring all these stakeholders, banks, credit information companies, all these stakeholders will come under a will come together at a single place under a common platform. And by this particular thing, timely delivery of loans can be made. Within few minutes, loan can actually be given to people. Now, this pilot project means an experimental project, a project on a limited scale which is started. So a pilot project has been started, and already government has started to give Kisan credit card loans up to 1.6 lakh rupees through this particular platforms. Now government want to increase this particular platform so that every loan that will be given in future should be given through this particular platform. So as of now on this particular platform, government has brought Kisan credit card loans up to 1.5 1.6 lakh rupees. Okay. And in states of Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, it is ongoing. And slowly, all the types of different loans, all the type of different loans for all the different type of borrowers will be brought on this particular platform. Now, this particular platform is being taken up by Reserve Bank of India's RBI Innovation Hub. RBI Innovation Hub, and it is this particular platform will have an open architecture. Now, what is open architecture? Let me give you one example. For example, we talk about UPI, Unified Payment Interface, which was created by NPCI. Now, UPI is an open architecture platform. If you see, on basis of UPI, different companies have made their own platform. For example, on UPI there is Phone Pay, on UPI there is Google Pay, on UPI there is many other kind of different platforms, Paytm, etc., that have also come. So it is an open architecture platform which can be used by other parties also to make their own offerings on their own products. So this is something that Reserve Bank of India is actually planning. And here, Reserve Bank of India will, first of all, now Kisan credit card loans have been brought, then dairy loans, MSME loans, personal loans, home loans, all will be brought on this particular platform, and every type of verification, Aadhaar signing, KYC verification, everything will have an incomplete paperless in digital form. Clear or not? So this is something which Reserve Bank of India is actually now coming out. Now, just this particular data is very important, and this data will make sense for this entire development. According to Reserve Bank of India survey, for the case of farm loans, they have to complete all the survey, all the information for the farmer. For collecting that, it takes 2 to 4 weeks of time, and about 6% of the total loan value is just goes in verification. For example, a farmer is taking 1 lakh rupees of loan, 6,000 rupees will just be wasted in his background verification. So it is a very expensive and very time taking exercise. So by this common platform, all the information, all the stakeholders will come at one place, and we can appraise the credit worthiness of a borrower, and in timely manner we can disburse the loan. So it will lead to frictionless credit delivery. Now, after understanding this entire issue, now you just go on this particular name, public tech platform for frictionless credit. What is frictionless? Frictionless which flows without any restriction, without any uh, without any friction. So frictionless credit, for this purpose this platform is being designed. I will now just be taking your doubts if they are there, and then we'll move to next article. Uh, Sir, please take video before 8 a.m. Yes, guys. With respect to the video timing, I just want to clear one thing. Actually, guys, in just last few days, there are some personal issues that were there, because of which we little bit we were able to stream this video a little bit late, around 8:30 or something like that, because there were some my personal family issues that were going on. But yes, in 1 or 2 day we'll come back to our usual timing of around 7:30 a.m. So apologies from my side for that particular thing, but that will be reverted back. Okay, so I have taken that particular concern. Fine, I have taken that thing. Okay, sir, what is input tax credit? See, input tax credit is given in the case of the GST. For example, I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. Fine. And let's say for my business, I have bought a computer. Now, when I bought a computer, on computer, I have paid 18% GST. 18% GST. Let's say just a rough figure. Suppose the computer was 1 lakh rupees, and in that 1 lakh rupees, 18% was GST. Okay. Let's say rough figure, let's say I have given 18,000 rupees GST. Now, as I am not using this computer for my personal purpose, I am using this computer for my business. So it is my business expenditure. So what I can do, I can claim this 18%, or let's say 18,000 rupees of GST that I have paid as an ITC, input tax credit. Okay. So that is about it. Fine. Now, moving on, to next article. So the vagaries and dangers of space that Chandrayaan 3 is built to brave. The vagaries and dangers of space that Chandrayaan 3 is built to brave. Let's take this particular article. So basically, guys, this article we have taken from science section, and we will see this article for GS paper number 3, science and technology, as well as for prelims examination. We will take it up. Okay. Then moving on to next article. Moving on to next article, there is one more, sir, will you be available at SRIAS? Dear, you just drop me a message and we'll connect as if you want to meet me, how we can meet. Okay, now, so first of all, guys, Chandrayaan 3, Chandrayaan 3, it is the lunar mission of India. Fine. Basically Chandrayaan 2, we launched in 2019, and Chandrayaan 2, which was launched in 2019, was expected to land on moon. But before the landing, there was some technical errors that came in Chandrayaan 3, and the landing, which was to be soft landing, it became a hard landing. And after that, Chandrayaan 3 was not able to carry forward its operation. So what Chandrayaan 2 was not able to achieve, for that Chandrayaan 3 now has been launched. On August 23, Chandrayaan 3 will land on moon and will search for waters. It is landing on the polar region of moon. Now, this article is talking about that whenever you design any moon mission or any space mission, any satellite, they have to go through a lot of stress. They have to go to a lot of pressure, lot of extremes. So what type of extremes this Chandrayaan 3 has also faced, or any other satellite faces? So on that particular thing, a kind of an overview has been given in this particular article. Now, first challenge that Chandrayaan 3. Now, on this particular thing, even a question in GS paper number 3 can come. For example, the question asking something like this, that India has undertook Chandrayaan 3, an ambitious mission. What are the challenges which usually the space probes have to face? This type of question can be there, and even similar questions have been asked. So first challenge that it will face is of the solar winds. The challenge it will face is of the solar wind. Now, guys, what are the solar winds? So basically, you know this particular thing, that the surface of sun, it is very hot and it emits high intensity solar flares. And these solar flares, they contain high intensity charged particles. So what happens, it releases energetic stream of protons and electrons. Continuously sun is ejecting energetic streams of protons and electrons. And as these protons and electrons, they spread in space, some of them also reaches earth. Now, guys, when we talk about earth has magnetic field around it. You might be knowing that earth has a magnetic field around it. So when these protons and electrons are approaching, charged protons and electrons are approaching towards earth, they come in contact with the magnetic field of the earth, and because of the magnetic field, they are diverted to the north and the south pole of the earth. Now, when they come along the north and the south pole, they come in contact with atmosphere, and as they come in contact with atmosphere, they collide with the atoms of oxygen and nitrogen. oxygen and nitrogen. And the atoms of oxygen and nitrogen absorb these electrons and protons. They absorb these electrons and protons. And by this absorption, what will happen? What will happen? They will they will absorb this excess energy. And as these charged electrons and protons are coming in contact with oxygen and nitrogen, you will find there is very colorful phenomena, colorful lightings along the north and south pole. We also call it as for example, northern lights. Now, when you talk about the northern lights that you see on the north pole, these northern lights, in these northern lights, a minute, yes, in these northern lights, you will see the shade of green, orange, blue. Green, orange, and blue. Now, why this shade of green, orange, and blue will be seen? So, oxygen is responsible for the shades of green and orange, and nitrogen is responsible for the shade of blue. So, protons and when these electrons and protons, are colliding with oxygen and nitrogen, they are absorbed by the oxygen and nitrogen. They emit colorful radiation, colorful lights, and we see the other lights are on the north pole. Okay. Now, understand this particular thing, and then they are absorbed in the atmosphere there. We don't receive these electrons and protons. We don't experience that on the structures on the earth, on your homes, on your computers. You don't experience them very violently. Why? Because of this protective layer that we have around the earth. But we don't have that type of protective layer when we are sending satellite, when we are sending a moon mission, or when we are sending any other object in the space. So therefore, these particular projects, they have to endure all these particular things. For example, when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, it has no natural protection as the earth has. So therefore, what happens, the devices there, they have to be made as, very much hardy. So basically, now understand this particular thing. As these charged electrons and protons will be striking on Chandrayaan 3, it might lead to the malfunctioning of computer devices. It might lead to the malfunctioning of sensors and all such kind of devices. And these particular malfunctioning might lead to a big damage. For example, these damages are called as the displacement damage, or they are also called as the single event transient damages. Displacement damage or single event transient damages. Now, what can happen? These solar winds, they are so strong that it can displace atom in electronic chips. Every computer, every device, a sensor, they will have electronic chips which are giving them computational power. So within the electronic chips, they carry the displacement of the atoms there, and over a period of time, that computer will malfunction, that device will malfunction, that sensor will malfunction, their performance will decay, and even the scientist can lose touch with entire mission, entire probe, because electric devices are not functioning. So therefore, the scientists and engineers, they have to use advanced engineering techniques to design and manufacture these electronic devices. And therefore, the electronic devices that will be sent on Chandrayaan 3 or any such probe, they are called as radiation hardened electronics. Radiation hardened electronics. And for this, for making these radiation hardened electronics, they will use very complex kind of materials. They use complex software, complex hardware. For example, one mechanism is that whenever a signal is being transmitted from Chandrayaan 3, there will be the 3 copies of signal that will be transmitted, so that even if one copy of signal is corrupted, then from other 2 copies you can verify that what actually the signal was. So 3 copies, triple modular redundancy, they will emit 3 layer of signals. Okay, so this is something that is being done. Then apart from these solar winds, charge electrons and protons, there can be other challenges also which any mission can face. For example, whenever we launch a particular spacecraft, fine, in that launching phase, that spacecraft will be vibrating too much, and due to that particular vibration, what happen, electronic devices can get damaged. For example, guys, let's say you have a laptop. Okay, for example, let's say I have this mobile phone. I put this mobile phone in a washing machine. Okay, and then now that washing machine is vibrating. What will happen? There is a grave possibility that if now mobile phones are very densely packed, but there are big devices which are not that densely packed. what can happen? They can get damaged. They can get damaged. So therefore, they also have to be ensured. They also have to be ensured that they can withstand the severe vibrations that will happen. So these instruments are built and tested to make them survive the huge vibrations that will happen when the spacecraft will be uplifted. Then after that vibration, so first is solar flare, second is vibration. After the solar flare and vibration, then the next challenge that they will face is the temperature fluctuation. Temperature fluctuation. Now, when we talk about Chandrayaan 3 will pass from the temperature of minus 200 degrees to positive or 200 degrees. So, at certain positions, Chandrayaan 3 will be near to sun, and there the temperature can go to 200 degree. Sometimes Chandrayaan 3, while it is approaching towards the uh, the polar region of moon, the temperature might go to minus 200 degree. So in these extremes, these electric devices, they can malfunction. So therefore these devices have to be made with such kind of a material that they can survive in these extreme temperatures. So temperature variability is an issue. Okay, so solar flare, vibration, temperature variability, third. Then the fourth is that many of these particular equipments now, as they have been placed in Chandrayaan 3, they will be placed in vacuum. Some of these materials are placed in vacuum. Now see this particular thing. Vacuum is where there is absence of air. Suppose I had this mobile phone in the normal room. I place this mobile phone in vacuum. When I place this mobile phone in vacuum, what will happen? There might be some trapped air bubbles, air particles, which this mobile phone might release in this particular vacuum. So there is and this is called as outgassing. This is called as outgassing. So when the materials are placed in vacuum, they release air molecule that were trapped in them. It is called as outgassing. And this outgassing can be a big nuisance in such extreme temperature. These air molecules can deposit themselves on a camera lens. And as they deposit themselves on a camera lens, what will happen? There is nobody to clean that camera. And then that camera will not be able to take pictures, might not be able to take videos, or low quality pictures, low quality videos will be a result because of that. And these are a lot of challenges that every space mission has to pass. Now, guys, see, Chandrayaan 3 has not landed on moon as of today. But still, we are calling Chandrayaan 3 as a success. Why? Because if Chandrayaan 3 has survived till this date, it means it has survived that solar flare challenges, vibrational challenges, temperature extreme challenges, challenges of vacuum, all those challenges it has survived. And if it has survived all those challenges, now the majority chunk of challenges it has already faced. So therefore, we are calling it still a success. And this particular thing shows that how far we have come because of this collaboration. It is a collective achievement of entire country and the national community. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular article. So this is about it. And now we'll be moving to next article. Okay, fine. So here we have this article, crafting safe generative AI systems. We'll take this particular article for GS paper number 3, Science and Technology. Okay. Generative artificial intelligence, generative AI, as well as in GS paper number 2, privacy and related issues. GS paper number 2, privacy and related issues, there also we'll take this particular article. Now, let's take some of the let's take what this article talks about. But before going on in this particular article, we will talk about little bit of background first, and then we'll go in details. Okay. Yes. So, guys, you might be knowing about artificial intelligence, which has become so pervasive, which have become so much pervasive, which has become so much popular these days. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence. When we talk about artificial intelligence, there is a particular subset of artificial intelligence, that is generative AI. Generative AI is that type of AI which will generate some content. For example, it can generate text, it can generate photographs, it can generate video, it can generate some creative media, anything. For example, you might have heard about Chat GPT. What is Chat GPT? Chat GPT is LLM, that is large language model. Chat GPT is LLM, large language model. What does it mean? Basically, Chat GPT is a kind of a chatbot which has been designed to carry the conversation with the people in natural language. If I type on chat GPT that what is capital of India, it will give me an response in simple English language that capital of India is New Delhi. Fine. So we also call these generative AI, particularly the chatbots, as large language models because they are working on language and they are giving you the language media. Okay. Now, when we talk about these generative AI such as ChatGPT, it has been said that they will add 2.6 to 4.4 trillion dollars to global economy. Okay. A lot of work that earlier has to be done by humans, they can now be outsourced to generative AI such as ChatGPT. Now, understand this particular thing. Recently, what has happened? India is coming out with Jugalbandi chatbot. Jugalbandi chatbot. What is this Jugalbandi chatbot? One example, you can use it in your answers, and I will advise you to please use it as a case study in your answer that how these generative AI can be used for a democratic and welfare. Let me explain. Jugalbandi chatbot. It is powered by ChatGPT. It is a universal translator. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that suppose I have to use internet, I can use it very easily because I know English. But if a person from rural India who doesn't knows English, who has never been trained in English, he has to use internet or she has to use internet, they cannot use it. Why? Because English language becomes a barrier in between. So here, what can happen? The Jugalbandi chatbot can come. Now, on the Jugalbandi chatbot, it is a universal translator. It can accept the queries in local languages. It can accept the queries in local languages and can retrieve answers in English language and present them to the user in their native language. In their native language, you can make a query in Bengali. Fine, it will retrieve answer in English, will convert that in Bengali, and will give you answer in Bengali. The point is that it will lead to democratization of internet. How many people are not able to use internet because they don't know English? So this will lead to the democratization of internet. That Jugalbandi chatbot, which is powered by ChatGPT, it is one example that how there will be the democratization of access to information. How many people will be connected to internet. So these are some of the ways. But at the same time, as there are these positive sides of generative AI, it is also bringing many risks. It is also bringing many risks. What is happening today due to this artificial intelligence? The cyber hackers, they have also become very much smart. Let me give you some example. For example, guys, by the help of AI, artificial intelligence, you can make a deep fake. What are deep fake? Deep fake are doctored videos, synthetic media. Example of a deep fake is that I can make video of a celebrity saying certain things or doing certain things which that celebrity has never done in the real life. Okay, for example, I can make a video of a celebrity who is dancing on a particular song which he has actually never done. So by using AI, you can also make these synthetic media, synthetic videos, doctored videos. And by that, what can happen? What can happen? There can be a lot of law and order issues. You can create a video of a political leader making some speech which actually he has never made, and it might lead to riots, it might lead to law and order problems. Sometimes these deep videos can be used to access sensitive information. For example, you can make my video, and in that video I'm saying this particular thing that please give my all the bank details to this XYZ person. You show that particular video to my family, they might give you that information. And by that particular thing, what can happen? Cyber attacks, cyber identity thefts, etc. can happen. So basically, many of the vested, many of the cyber hackers, they are using AI to promote misinformation, disinformation, security hacks, frauds, hate speeches. For all these particular things, AI is being used. Recently, what has happened? An AI generated image was created where the Pentagon was shown as Pentagon in US is burning. Because of that, the stock markets went down. So these are the negative ways as how the AI is being used. One individual in Belgium committed suicide because of his conversation with a LLM, a chatbot. Okay. So we see this particular thing that the safety risk are also there while using AI. So this is something which is a negative side of AI. So therefore, there is a need to regulate AI. There is a need to regulate AI. Okay. So regulation is necessary, but not sufficient. Regulation is necessary, but not sufficient. What is there? Basically, guys, before before dealing with any actor on virtual world, any actor on virtual world, on internet world, their identity has to be verified. So for robust identity verification, we need to have mechanism so that we can make internet a safe space. And today 50 countries have launched the initiative to develop or issue digital identity credentials. Okay, so before dealing with anyone on online, you need to know that whether it was a real person with whom you're interacting, or it is just a chatbot, it is just a AI. Okay, so you need to have mechanism by which the digital identity of every person can be verified, and for that digital identity credentials are being taken up by 50 countries in the world. And when we talk about India, guys, India already has Aadhaar, which is a digital identity, and this Aadhaar can be used on the online world, on the digital world, for securing the for verifying the identity credentials. So it can be used, it can be used. Now point is that, guys, India needs to be a pioneer. India actually is a pioneer, and India needs to be a leader for the world countries, that India can teach them that how they can also create their digital identities, and how these digital identities can be used on the online world for the identity verification. But at the same time, but at the same time, some challenges are need to be kept in mind. First of all, source validation of that of the identity. Okay, enable verifiability that comes from a known source, publisher, or individual. Okay, when you are verifying the identity, there needs to be the mechanism that we know that identity verification is actually happening in a right way with the right source. Okay, at the same time, content integrity, fine, which is to enable verifiability that the information has not been tempered. The identities which are being stored, they are to be stored in such a way that that entire database is not tempered, it is not compromised. And the third is the information on information validity. Okay, now understand this particular thing, guys, that that the ID that you are verifying, it has to be valid even now. There should not have been some changes. Okay, now, one thing just I want to tell you here is that, guys, that the suggestion that have been given by the author here are too much specific on a microscopic problem. You are not required to go too much in detail in that dimension, because so much hairline questions are not asked in the UPSC examination. UPSC asks the broad questions. For example, what are the challenges of AI in the present era? So you can add that particular challenge, and just as a suggestion you can give that we need to have the robust identity verification mechanism, robust identity verification mechanisms, just that you can propose, and on that, from Aadhaar some inspiration can be taken, which is already a digital identity. Okay, now moving on to next article. Pilot fatigue in India, wake up call for airlines. So we'll take it for GS paper number 3, infrastructure, aviation industry. So basically, guys, the article is talking about that there have been large number of reports that pilots, they have died of cardiac arrest. Okay, and Indian pilots also have passed away due to cardiac arrest. One of them was a pilot of Indian origin flying for uh, an airline in West Asia, and other was a pilot employed in a private airline in India who collapsed while at the boarding gate in Nagpur. So it has been said that the pilots, they are facing cardiac arrest, they are facing these complications, and largely it is because of the fatigue and sleep deprivation. The article says that has India has the worst sets of rules on flight and duty time limitation, rest periods. Okay, and we need to emphasize more on rest, sleep, and all such kind of a thing for pilots particularly, because they often face a lot of fatigue while they are on duty. Now it has been provided that more than 60 years happened. 60 years ago it was provided that stress levels, scientific study provided that the stress level, fine, they increase a lot when the scientists are trying to land, particularly in adverse weather condition. And during this particular time, the heartbeat can rise to 240 beats per minute, 240 beats per minute. And when your heart is beating at such a high rate, it might deplete your sugar in your blood. And at the same time, there is also sleep deprivation, fine, which can lead to poor decision making, which can lead to erratic decision making. And because of this particular poor decision making, what can happen, it can lead to accidents, it can lead to mishaps. So pilots, their mental well-being, their sleep conditions, they are needed to be seen very carefully. It is said that the pilots, they are not in the same work category as airline ground staff are there. When we talk about the airline ground staff, they can avail 2 days of off every week for 52 weeks. Public holidays are there, annual leave is there. Flying crew, they get 1 day off in 1 week, and just they have just their annual leave they have. So we need to give them more offs, we need to give them more rest, and we need to ensure their mental health is also in best of the condition. And safe airlines, they provide at least 2 days off every week, as well as a rest to the crew who are on the flight. So India also needs to follow that. Just that suggestion has been given. Beyond that, nothing much important is there in this article. Then moving on, and we have this particular article talking about payment crisis leads to uncertainty over Russia defense deal. Now, this article, guys, I think we have discussed a lot times earlier also. Again, that article has come. Let me give you this article's basic background first. Basically, guys, right now you might be knowing already Russia-Ukraine war is going on. And as Russia-Ukraine war is going on, West has criticized Russia for this war. And West has imposed a lot of sanction on Russia. Russia has been banned from SWIFT network. What is SWIFT? SWIFT is a secure messaging platform that is used by the financial institutions around the world to send and to receive messages. It is not a payment transfer platform, it is a messaging platform. If you have to transmit money from one bank to another bank, before that money is transmitted, verification and all such kind of thing has to be done. All that messaging happens to SWIFT. Russia has been banned from SWIFT network. It means that Russian banks today are cut from the other banks. Okay. And at the same time, also there is a ban that Russia cannot use the US dollar for any international trade. Russia cannot use a dollar for international trade. So USA by the sanction is trying to kill Russia economically. Okay. But what has happened? Russia had identified some alternative means. For example, Russia and India, when we talk about Russia and India, they have a robust trade. The trade is on weapons, the trade is on weapons, it is on oil, fine. And actually, Russia is now giving oil to India at discounted price. And in 2020, India bought a lot of oil from Russia, and actually, Russia became the largest exporter of oil to India in 2022. So, this is something that is happening. Now, as we are buying oil from Russia, we have to give money to Russia. How to give that money? For that particular thing, India, Russia came out with rupee ruble arrangement. India, Russia came out in February 2022 with rupee ruble arrangement. What is rupee ruble arrangement? Under this rupee ruble arrangement, this is Russia, this is India. Russia is supplying oil to India. What India will do? India will pay to Russia in form of rupee. In form of rupee. Now Russia will use that same rupee while Russia is buying wheat from India. While Russia is buying wheat from India. Or let's say Russia is buying chemical from India. Russia will pay back the same rupee. Okay. Let's say Russia had 100 rupees and Russia bought 200 rupees of chemicals from India. Russia will give 100 rupees and 100 rupees worth of ruble Russia will give to India. India will pay back that ruble while India in buying oil from Russia. So rupee ruble arrangement will go on. So this arrangement got started between India and Russia. But guys, actually what happened between India and Russia, when we talk about it, there is a trade deficit, and trade deficit is skewed against now there is a trade deficit. How there is a trade deficit? Let me explain you. Actually, we buy more and more oil. We are the net importers from Russia. We are the net importers from Russia. And because of that, India has given a lot of rupee to Russia. Russia has already had a lot of rupee, and Russia doesn't know how to use, where to use this rupee. Because rupee is not a universally accepted currency as of today. So Russia already has a lot of rupee. Russia is struck with that rupee. Now, guys, we were buying oil from Russia, but now the S400 comes. S400 comes. Okay. S400. So basically, guys, when we talk about the S400, we are buying from India. It is air defense system. S400 is a air defense system that we are buying from Russia. And for S400, we have signed a deal of $5.43 billion. Under this particular deal, there are This $5.43 billion deal is there for S400. Now, in this, five consignments of S400 will come. Three consignments have already come. Okay. But the point is that we are buying S400 from Russia, for which $5.43 billion are to be paid. How you will pay that rupee? Dollar cannot be used. So one way is that we give $5.43 billion in terms of rupee, but Russia is already having so much of rupee. So now this deal has got struck. Russia says you will again give us $5.43 billion rupee, but what will do of that rupee? So we have to find out some alternative arrangement. And because of that particular alternative arrangement, this S400 deal is now struck. Fine. This deal is now struck. Also, there was a Krivak and Talwar class frigates, stealth frigates, ships that we also have to take from Russia, but they are also not coming because of this arrangement. Now, in the past, there are also the criticism of India that also happened. It is said that under Russia ruble arrangement, because Russia was not very much willing to accept rupee, we are now giving yuan, Chinese currency, to India, to Russia, and it is going against the India's national interest. So even yuan cannot be used. Even official had said that yuan has been used only for one transaction. So you cannot give yuan, dollar cannot be given, rupee they don't want. So how this particular deal is to be taken? So this is now struck and we are trying to find out the way in this particular direction. So that is all guys about this particular article. Beyond that, nothing much important is there. And now main practice question for today. And the question reads, artificial intelligence revolution is potentially unleashing a wave of technical and social change. However, this AI revolution also brings risk. In this context, discuss the broader approach India needs to engineer for online safety. This will be 10 marker GS paper number 3 question. That is all about this, guys. And with this, we come to an end. And guys, I really want to express my gratitude and my thanks to all of you for the immense response that you are giving on our newspaper analysis. I just want to thank everybody for your comments that you are leaving on the video, the likes that you are leaving on our video. I really want to thanks to all, and that really means a lot for us. And also I want to express my gratitude for a good response that you have shown to our ethics course also. Thank you so much guys for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you so much.